tutorials. On this lesson, we are going to be deducing the general formula for calculating gradient. We're saying calculating gradient is just y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, looking at this diagram here, we are calculating the gradient from x into x plus h, between x and x plus h. And for us to get the value for b there, to say what's the value for the y, what's our y value when our x is x plus h, we simply say it's f of x plus h, right? And then here we simply say it's f of x to get our value for y there. Okay, so in other terms, we'll say our gradient from AB is going to be YB minus Y1, YB there minus YA, YB minus YA over XB, which is this value, minus XA, right? So with that being said, we don't know the value for YB, but we know that we can actually calculate it when we say it is the f of x plus h, right? In place of x, we are just going to write x plus h for us to get our value for f, right? Our y value. And then the one for ya, we are just going to say it's f of x, okay? In place of our x value, on our f of x, we'll just replace it with the x value so that we can get the y value, right? So remember, this is yb and that's ya. All over xb, what's our xb? It's x plus h minus xa, which is just a x. So at the end of the day, you realize that when we simplify this one, we are going to end up with f of x plus h minus f of x, all being divided by h. What happened? X minus x became a 0, right? So this then becomes our general term for calculating our general formula for calculating gradient. You simply say it's f of x plus h minus f of x, all divided by h. Okay, so let's look at examples where we are just going to plug this formula to get our solution, right? So they said consider the function, in this case they said consider the function of f of x is equal to 1 minus x squared. Consider the function of f of x is equal to 1 minus x squared. They say determine f of 2 plus h minus f of 2 all divided by h. Determine f of 2 plus h minus f of 2 all divided by h. What do they want there? Determine f of 2 plus h minus f of 2 all over h. So for us to get that solution, it's very easy. Let me erase this side. For us to determine that, it's very easy. We are told our f of x is 1 minus x squared. So if they say f of 2 plus h, let's first deal with f of 2 plus h. F of 2 plus h will be equal to what? So it means in place of x, I'm going to write 2 plus h, right? In place of x, I'll write 2 plus h. So this is equal to 1 minus 2 plus h all to the power 2. And simplifying 2 plus h squared, that will give me 1 minus 2 times 2 plus h. And then, let me put a bracket there. And then plus h times 2 plus h. I'm just expanding that. This will give you 1 minus, open bracket, 4 plus 2h plus 2h plus h squared. This will simplify to be 1 minus, open bracket, 4 plus 4h plus h squared. But then Now when I open this whole bracket, it's going to be 1 minus 4 minus 4h minus h squared. 1 minus 4 is a negative 3, so this is minus 3 minus 4h minus h squared. That's the first part of f of 2 plus h. But what about f of 2? F of 2 is straightforward. F of 2 is just going to be 1 minus 2 to the power 2, right? In place of x, I'm writing a 2. 2 to the power 2 is a what? It's a 4. So 1 minus 4 is just going to be a negative 3 like that, okay? So now, injecting this into the formula, remember they say determine f of 2 plus h minus f of 2 over h. My f of 2 plus h, I've simplified it to be a negative 3 minus 4h minus h squared minus f of 2, which became a 3, a negative 3. But then a minus and a minus 3 will end up being a positive, right? And then this is all divided by h. Okay. So now I'm having a positive 3 there. Plus 3 minus 3 will just become a 0. In other terms, I'm remaining with minus 4h minus h squared, all divided by h. I'm sure you can agree with me that h is common on our numerator. In fact, a minus h is common on our numerator. If I factor out a minus h, I will remain with a 4 plus h all divided by h. The h will cancel out. I will remain with a negative, open bracket, 4 plus h. Negative, open bracket, 4 plus h, or I can actually write my final solution as minus 4 minus h, like that. So what is important is for you to know that when they ask and when they say f of 2 plus h, it means on your f of x, where you are having x, you are going to write 2 plus h, right? F of 2, it means where you are having an x, you're just going to replace it with a 2, right? I hope you guys benefited from this lesson. On our next lesson, we are going to be calculating the gradient from the first principles.